Hi, how are you, my dears? Did you survive the holiday madness? I hope so, and with everything slowing down at this time of the year, I hope you had a wonderful and gentle end to 2025. But yeah, we are already finding ourselves at the start of a new year, and it couldn't be more symbolic. You've probably heard that this was the end of a 9-year life cycle, marking a time of profound endings, karmic completion, and clearing out any old patterns, energies, and emotional baggage that has been holding on to us longer than we need it to, and it's time to let go. Make space for the new in 2026. It is truly a chapter ending, and without even realizing, I actually reached the end of this journal that I've been documenting my everyday life in for the past 4 years. So yeah, big chapter ending. And on the very last day of 2025, I took my last page and wrote what came to mind, thinking back to everything that has happened this year. There's a couple major realizations I've had that have particularly surfaced in the month of December. One is the fact that with the end of any chapter, there's a limbo you go through in trying to figure out what comes next. Not that we need to have all the answers or know right away, but transitions are notoriously hard for a reason, because they are uncomfortable. They are unpredictable. And the best way a hyper-independent daughter gets through that is by making herself so busy that she doesn't even have a moment to limbo, because she's got things to do, places to be, goals to achieve, and she does it well, you know? But does that mean that she always knows what she's doing? I don't know, don't ask me. All I know is that I've never really given myself permission to not do anything. It feels so counterintuitive to me that I would rather be in physical pain than to be forced to not do anything. But I know that there is something really important lying here in the limbo. It's not just a time to be, to rest, or to recuperate. It's actually the prerequisite to the next chapter. You don't get to skip pages. You have to read on, even when it's kind of boring. But this is why I feel like the transition time from one year to another is kind of my favorite now, because it's forcing you to take a break from everyday life, everyday routines, and the world stops just enough for us to feel ourselves again. And that's usually where breakthroughs come in. And one of those for me was realizing that I just do way too much. Like more than I should and more than I ought to, especially when I'm not really getting the same vibe back. And this was a hard lesson for me to learn this year, because it impacted a lot of my relationships and friendships in a way that I didn't really expect. For the first time, it made me pull back and really question why I was always putting in more effort and how that made me feel in certain situations. You know, as a daughter of immigrants, the narrative of effort equals outcome is one that I have deeply internalized, and somehow I play that out in my efforts to always make things work, because I just believe the more you try, the harder you work at it, it should work. I had such a hard time accepting that no amount of effort can save anybody or anything if it's only you. I'm the kind of person that doesn't give up until there are truly no other possibilities. But when you give yourself too much to people, too much all the time, you give them everything you have, you give them all of your effort and your time and your patience and your hope, you lose yourself very easily in that. And this isn't the first time that I've overextended myself in a relationship. And that really bothered me for a while. I just couldn't understand. What became clear to me is that I was fighting myself in that relationship, trying to live out a life that I never wanted, I never truly desired or dreamt of. But the person is who I wanted and who I truly desired.
And that is one of the hardest things to give up, when like the person is exactly, it's your person, when it's someone you can truly see yourself with, but the life circumstances are not panning out, are not working out. And it was such a beautiful and deep relationship. But I guess my love for him and for what the relationship was has finally settled into a place of acceptance and true understanding that you can really, really love somebody and it can still not work out.
Another realization I had when visiting family over the holidays is just how different my life is now. And with that comes a lot of mixed emotions around belonging, the scarcity of time, emotional vulnerability, and how to be around others while not abandoning yourself. For one, I graduated, and that was a big moment for me that truly felt mine. Completing grad school was something I did on my own, and it was the first moment I felt really proud of myself in a long time. And then there's family, getting together from multiple places around the world, bonding over our lost childhoods, eating our weight in sushi, celebrating Christmas, seeing old friends, and sharing sweet, sweet moments together. These are the times that make living thousands of kilometers away so hard. You don't get this again until next year. I always really struggle to face this contradiction because A, the guilt of choosing yourself and the life that you want means you have to give up others, and B, deep down, there's a part of me that wishes I could just live my life with others the way I quote-unquote should have been able to. But there's a reason why I'm not there, and I really don't think gaslighting ourselves into thinking that it is always better on the other side is helpful. There is a time and a space to be back in those places, to really appreciate what they mean to you, but it doesn't mean that you're meant to stay there forever.
I'm gonna give her a little treat. You stay in your bed, okay? Good girl. If there's one thing that any hyper-independent elder daughter does not like, it's being sick. Because that means that she has to depend on people. And I don't want to. But I can't. Because there's no one here. Because I'm by myself. And I chose to be by myself all the way in a far, far away land. So, this is my punishment. Is suffering the flu on my own.
Somehow, this always happens to me at the end of the year, and maybe it's kind of the calendar's way of forcing us all to slow down, but getting sick when you live alone across the world kinda sucks. Kinda really sucks. But of course, it gets better. The start of a new year is always a stark reminder that today is a new day. That means another chance to wake up and feel differently, to do things differently, to take care of yourself differently, and to create a life that is entirely differently yours. One that you can look back on with compassion for all of the heartbreak, the plot twists, the redemptions, reveals, and resolutions that bring us to the end of another year, another chapter, or even another book. I'm wishing you all a beautiful start to 2026. May this be the year you start writing a new story. Thanks for watching, and Happy New Year.